cool. Hi, Jamie. Again, for the video, this is our third take at this due to technology issues, but we're reviewing programming for the month of April. We'll take a quick look back at March, but every month I'll get together with Coach Jamie Lee and talk to him about his programming so that we can give you some insight. I get this insight, our coaches get this insight. The programming at Diablo is created by Jamie Lee, but he has a committee of 3 or 4 coaches that help provide him programming from the gymnastics side, for example, but also insight as to what our members are giving as feedback. And then he also takes results from Sugar Watt, and there's a tremendous amount of data that most folks aren't aware of that's on there, but our coaches have access to all of your data, the PRs, and then we have access to all your notes as well that we can see, and they're summarized in a nice format. So when you register, when you log your workouts, that data is being used, so make sure you're logging your workouts. But I do want to just real quick look at March. That was a good month. It was thruster, but actually not thruster, is more
front squat to overhead.
Front squat complex. To overhead complex with and then a focus on the snatch, and I think pull-ups as well,
Strict
right?
Pull-ups.
Strict pull-ups, and that worked out well for the open, especially for me because I don't drill the accessory work separately from class anymore. I like taking class, so I like being able to do that, and I felt like that helped me for 18.5, for example. But
yeah, the strict pull-up is definitely one of those things that needs to be addressed. You know, if you have a kipping pull-up, but yet maybe not be as strong, and you find yourself, you know, tiring out after a few reps, or you know, grip strength may be an issue. Strict pull-up is one of those foundational movements that really should be practiced, essentially before really dialing in and doing a lot of volume with kipping pull-ups. So whether it's working with a band like we did throughout the last month of progressing through the strict pull-up, that'll help make you stronger as a pull-up in general.
yeah, that's cool. And then the
Snatch
squat,
work.
snatch was good, and I like the drills for snatch, that helps, but then the ground overhead, I think for me that helps me, or the front squat to overhead, those are weaknesses for me as well personally. But
that was really built around kind of going from the front squat, going from that front rack to transitioning into the overhead. So we're hitting 2 different archetypes,
right,
as far as mobility goes. So you know, the more we spend time in certain positions, the more we can adapt to those positions.
Cool. Well, it worked out well for the open, and we had a ton. I saw the PR board. There was just a ton of PRs stacked. Yeah, in the month of March, and that's always neat to see. And some of it went back to our deadlift work, because there was still more deadlift PRs. But then there was Fran PRs. There was first pull-ups. That was one of the things I liked about the open, is that it forced people to push themselves a little bit further than they might.
Takes them outside of that comfort zone.
And then allowed them to put the work that they've been doing in the gym to use.
Yeah,
which was neat. So for the month of April, it looks like a good month. I've looked at it. And at Diablo, when Jamie programs, he programs a primary strength movement, a secondary strength or skill, and then a gymnastic skill and strength. And this month's primary strength is the back squat.
Yep.
So we started Monday. Today's Wednesday. We started Monday we start today.
Today with a 3 by 10.
I haven't worked out yet, so it's 3 by 3, 10, 10, 10, 10. So you start with the higher reps in the beginning of the month?
Yeah, the idea behind that is working with more of a higher volume, higher repetition in a set allows us to find what intensity feels like. At the same time, practicing and repeating quality range of motion, so we're building a good mechanical base as we increase our intensity over the rest of the month.
That's neat. The 3 by 10s for me, the first set's not bad. Second set, I mean, each one feels like a metcon. I'm breathing hard after each one. But man, that last set of 10.
By that third one, the anticipation for it's a little stressful.
And those last few reps are hard.
Yeah, they should be. If they're not, then you probably have more in the tank.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then there's some cool combinations I noticed. We got a pyramid complex, descending. We descend and ascend. That makes it interesting for me, and that's, you know, I like doing stuff like you have 6-4-2, 4-6, right? Yeah. That stuff's cool. That harkens back to my old bodybuilding days.
Yeah, or the 9-6-3, decreasing and then building it again.
And then we get down to 5-5-5s, and then all the way down to 2-2-2s and singles.
Yeah.
how often are we doing back squats typically?
So for the back squat cycle, and for generally a lot of the primary strength focuses that we'll program for CrossFit classes, for back squat, for example, we're squatting every 5 days. So to get some time to recover from that intensity and not going below parallel throughout the whole week. Every 5 days, you can plan to have a heavy squat day, building on our strength around that.
Right.
Now, if you happen to miss one of those days, it's programmed in there so you can come back, repeat it, maybe, or make it up during open gym the next day after. Which, if you're trying to get stronger in your back squat, which will have a translate over to just about everything else we do in the gym for CrossFit classes, come in and make those days up.
Okay, so if I can't, so we have today, and then next week it looks like next
Monday or Tuesday.
Yes, so we go Wednesday. No, then we go again back squat again on Monday, and then we go again on Saturdays every 5 days, and then we're Thursday the week of the 16th, and then the week of the 23rd we're on Tuesday again, and then we go again the last day of the month, finishing off with singles.
Yeah.
And the singles is essentially, that's the test out?
That's our time to build up.
Okay.
When we're testing for back squat or testing really any max load, you want to kind of have an opportunity to get a good warm up at those lighter loads, but make more aggressive jumps to get to those heavier weights. So you're not wasting all the repetition, you're not wasting your legs on those earlier weights getting to the heavier weight.
Okay.
So you may have 5 sets, you may have 7 sets. It really depends on how heavy you're going to go.
All right. So if someone misses or they miss a squat day, and squat's important to them, they want to get stronger at squat, which if they get stronger at the squat, you're saying everything's going to get better. Probably they'll probably get stronger at everything. Yeah. Come in on an off day, maybe an off day, or come in. And you said earlier when we talked, come in before class.
Yeah.
And do the work, and maybe back squat
make
before
up
class.
a session before
Make
class.
up a session before class.
Just make sure you're choosing that session. It's not like you're doing a workout that has a ton of squatting in it, because your legs are going to be taxed going after that workout.
Okay, great. And then the secondary strength for this month is squat clean, which has got more squats in it. Right.
This one is going to be more of a skill focused. Okay. So we've got 4 sessions through the month, so once every week. And this is really going to be building off of more of the Olympic lift, so more pulling. So when you look at the programming, it's not just a straight squat clean. We're working on the pull to get to the top of the position. So then we can work our way from the hang down from the first position to the second to the ground, and we work that progression. That way we're working on breaking down the lift itself. So working the pull versus just standing it up. It's not just a deadlift. We should be practicing and rehearsing that pull from the ground so we can translate it over to the lift.
Okay. So this stuff for me, and I know when it comes up in class, it's tedious. I don't like it as much. Mm-hmm. But I noticed when I do it, and I think it was after I had a PT session with you when we went through the drills, and I really focused on engaging my hamstrings more. It was snatch pulls, not clean pulls, but it was engaging my hamstrings more, getting my weight more to the front mid of my foot versus the back where I used to sit on back. But now when I do these drills, I really focus on those things, and it makes it, for me, in class more mentally entertaining.
It keeps you engaged.
It keeps me engaged. Right? I feel like I'm really working on something.
And there's something to the pulls that can be taken out of context, I guess. With it's like I said, it's not a deadlift; it's a clean pull. So the weight, like you had mentioned, staying over the bar versus pulling the bar back to you, forces you to use more of your lats, more of your back, which allows you to build up strength to hold the position when you do go to a heavy clean. So if you can rehearse and refine your clean pull, you're going to have a more effective pull when you go to clean a heavy barbell. There's going to be less arm pulling. There's going to be, we're not going to be jumping too soon. A lot of people, you may hear patient on that pull, keep the pull patient. Yeah. Those are the things that we're talking about, and this is the time that we can practice that.
You have on here always recommended starting percentages, 70% of your one rep max. How should that feel? Should that feel or how do I know I'm going too heavy or maybe too light?
That's a good question. When the percentages are on there, that's just that's a guideline. That's to give you an idea of where you should be starting as far as effort goes. If you do not have a max effort and you don't know what 70% is, you're going to have some time to kind of build up at some lighter weights, but we want to get to a point where you're challenged to hold a good position, where if you are pulling and you maybe revert back to an old habit and sit back to the heels like you would a deadlift, it's too heavy, right? We need to think about staying over the bar. If we're not able to maintain that position, then maybe don't go heavier, stay at that weight and try to refine it.
Okay.
This is, like I said, this is going to be more of a skill base versus an actual traditional strength focus.
Well, when I see that showing up about 5 times this month, so about once a week, and again, that's something that if someone wants to improve on their Olympic lifts, or they're clean in particular, and they can't make it in on that day, that's something that they can do at open gym.
Open gym, another option is, hit the strong class, really focus on the Olympic lifts and kind of get out of that. And if that's time isn't available, or if you don't have the time to, commit 90 minutes, which is how long the strong class is, maybe set up a 30-minute PT to work on those skills, work on refining that technique and getting feedback from a coach.
We do, some members ask, what would I set a 30-minute PT for? And this is a great idea for setting up a 30-minute PT. Like, a coach can really walk you through what the clean pull should look like, and what your squat clean should look like, give you personal coaching on that technique. Be warmed up and ready to go, and you'll get a full 30 minutes. And you can certainly hit any of these workouts in that 30-minute PT. So that's a great idea. The gymnastic portion for this month is muscle ups, and so for me, I like the idea of this because I need work on it. But what about members that that don't have muscle ups? Should they be looking at this going, oh, what a waste? Or,
well, the thing with the muscle up, this is something that everybody can practice. Now, whether you're practicing the muscle ups on the high rings or just working on the transition on the low rings, it requires shoulder flexibility, upper body strength. These are all things that are good for just life in general. For example, if you fall off a boat or fall out into a pool, how do you get out of the water? You have to pull yourself over, then get yourself up. So this is a helpful movement pattern for life. If you're ever in a funky situation, don't neglect this exercise. And as far as muscle up goes, we're going to be focusing on the strict muscle up. So it's not so much the kipping muscle up. We're going to be working on practicing the strict muscle up from a couple different progressions, starting off on the ground, using the rings, basically going from the false grip, working through the transition. Our second progression will be going from the boxes. This is going to be more of a dynamic transition.
Okay.
So if you do have the strict muscle up from the ground and that you nail that progression down comfortably, this is the time that we start working on transitioning off the ground. Maybe not on the high rings yet, but that way we have something a little bit more stable, so using boxes, until you're comfortable to try transitioning the two of them together on the high rings.
Okay, good.
All right. After another thing along with these muscle up drills, I know a lot of people like the two workouts, the EMOM into the metcon.
Yeah.
After we practice some time working on this skill and the movement pattern itself, we're going to be doing little EMOMs afterwards that are going to recruit more kipping movements, more high dynamic movements. So from toes to bars to pull-ups, push-ups, burpees, things like that.
Yeah, I like the EMOMs because they help keep me focused on the movement itself, and doing a little bit when I'm a little bit tired, which I tend to respond better to. But it is, again, it's like another workout within that 1 hour class time. There's a couple of times when I've been really beat up after the metcon, after doing an EMOM, so that should be fun.
Yeah. So don't neglect the muscle ups if you still want to get a good workout. It's still going to be a good workout.
Awesome. So the metcons for the month, I've had a chance to look through all the metcons. So far this month's been great. I've gotten compliments from a couple of different members. I'm sitting at the front desk today, and a couple of people have spoken up about our metcon programming as of the last couple months, but in particular today and yesterday. Monday, Fran, so we got our girl Watt out of the way. But
that was our test from our strict pull-up and our shoulder overhead.
Yeah, and there were quite a few PRs on that too, which was cool. Yesterday's power clean or clean and clean and jerk and double under workout. Now a new Diablo benchmark. That one was awesome. I enjoyed that a great deal, and I think that's great for Grace.
Yeah.
What do you see on the calendar for the month that jumps out at you that's cool and you're looking forward to?
Well, there's a couple good workouts. One of them that's based off of a classic CrossFit benchmark workout. One of the notables involves Filthy. It has about 50 reps of each. What we're doing is we're going to be doing a variation of that, more of an interval base, going through the Filthy 60. So we've got 60 seconds at each station with a 60-second break in between each movement. So it's basically a work-rest interval base through all 10 of those elements.
Okay. That workout, I like one because it has intervals, but the other thing that's cool is the Filthy 60, having done it a number of times, makes you better at the Filthy 50. For me, it gives me an idea of like how many of each of those movements can I do in a minute.
Yeah.
So then when I look at the Filthy 50, I'm like, okay, how long is this going to take me to get these 50 movements, these 50 reps done? And then how will I feel?
That's what I like. It gives you a chance to learn about yourself within some of those movements. So if you know that maybe knees to elbows aren't your jam, how are you breaking them up? How many reps can you complete in a minute?
Yeah.
I mean, for the full Filthy 50, you've got 50 reps. You may only get 20 reps in this, but it gives you an idea as far as like how long it would maybe take you to complete the full 50.
Right. And we still end with wall ball shots, burpees, and double under.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yep. Still following the same concept of the Filthy 50.
That'll be good. And then if there's a I looked through it in a workout that jumped out at me, and that was kind of cool. Was this? And it's a partner workout, but it's a back squat face-off workout. Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
So what that is instead of having a partner, you're gonna have an opponent. So for example, you and I were partners or opponents. We'll do a little Rochambeau. Who wins gets to choose whether they're gonna start on a rower or start on the back squats. Now on the back squats, for example, say I win, I'm gonna start on the row. You start on the back squats. While I row 300 meters, you have that time to establish max rep back squat. Now, once I finish, you have to drop the bar. I get off the rower and get on the bar. It takes you 300 meters for me to get my max back squats.
Right.
So, depending on how fast you row for your partner, you're giving them either more or less time for the back squats. But at the same time, if you go really fast, you may not have the amount of legs to push out a big set of back squats when it comes your time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that strategy. That's cool. So, programming's been fun these last few months, Jimmy, and I think we've made a lot of progress in the gym. If you have feedback for us, a couple of ways to give it. One, enter your scores on SugarWatt, and then jot down notes. We look through those notes.
That's probably the most helpful spot because everything is right there. It's easy to see the feedback.
And if you want to provide feedback, provide it to your coach, your class coach, and then that will get filtered up and back to the programming committee and to Jamie Lee, so that we can influence what we do on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. So I'm going to check in. I'm going to pull Jamie Lee back in again this month to kind of do a review and update and see where we are. Maybe we'll get a peek into May programming. We do have the May Classic coming up.
Yeah, the Spring Classic.
The Spring Classic coming up, which is Olympic lifting meet. We hope everybody can participate. That's on May 19th.
Another reason why we're doing some squat cleans as part of our scope.
That's right. So he's going to build up into that. So the strong class especially will be leading into that, but our regular CrossFit class too. He's got his eye on that May Classic on May 19th. So enter your SugarWatt scores, talk to your coaches, and enjoy the workouts. Thanks, Jane. That was great.
Till next time.
We do have it down.
Yeah.